Successful in the Other 5-Minute Focus, episode 162, Keeping the Fun in Writing. You started writing because it was fun. You loved to tell a story. You had a story you wanted to get out. The myriad of reasons authors become authors. And then you work through and you finally finish that book. And, hey, here's a book. And now what do I do with it? And then you start putting it up for sale, and it snowballs from there. Generally, your expectations and reality will collide and take the fun out of writing. If you become a slave to the almighty dollar, and all of a sudden you're making $5,000, $10,000 a month, and you look at, oh my God, I can do this for a living. So I'm going to. And then you start writing, and now the pressure of you have to deliver not just a good story, but a great story that's even better than your last one, because 10,000, now you need 20,000, now you need 30,000, and all of a sudden it becomes overwhelming, and it's this monumental burden on your shoulders. Here's a secret that's not a secret. Writing full time is not for everybody. You have to keep the fun in writing, because you are the talent. You are the one who produces the product that then you put for sale. So if you can't balance both sides, if you can't separate, hey, here's my artistic side, I need to just write, have a great time writing, tell a great story, learn my craft and get better at my craft. And then, oh, by the way, on a couple hours a day, I need to do this business side and make the magic happen over there. So don't let yourself get bogged down through the grandiose goals of, I'm going to be the next James Patterson, or something that's so far out there that it weighs you down when you don't get there, because not everybody's going to get there. Actually, almost nobody is going to get there. You look at how many authors there are, millions, and how many are making James Patterson money. Don't set yourself up for failure, which is part of what ruins people's careers. No matter what you're doing, if you set yourself up for failure, if you set your expectations too high, it's okay to have a high goal, but it's not okay to be destroyed when you don't reach it. That's why inch stones, you inch your way in, and all of a sudden, hey, you're going to be a mile farther than you were. So keep in mind, you may not sell many books, but that doesn't make you a failure. My first book, I sold like 53 copies, and I think my dad bought 50 of them. But I wasn't a failure, because, hey, I had more stories to tell, and I liked telling the stories. My refuge, I've been a full-time author for 5.5 years now, and my refuge is in writing the stories, because I've got my insider team, and they are critical for keeping me on track, in that this is a good story. And they're honest when they're like, hey, I'm not sure we like this story. I've got a couple that are pending down the road that they looked at them and they weren't overwhelmed. So I'm looking and seeing that these may not be huge winners, but their stories, they're down. We'll put them out there. We'll make more than we spent, but we're not going to make a lot. And that's okay. It's a compromise. My backlist, I've got a few good books. Once you have backlist, you always have something to sell. So you put on your business hat, and I was a business consultant, so I'm a business geek, and I like the business side of it. That helps me. My refuge, writing. So writing will always be fun for me, even if I'm not selling, even if I get torpedoed for something out of the blue that I have no idea what it might be, but you never know. And that's where I find my fun. We have the business side and the book. I still like this book. I still like telling these stories. It's all okay. Use that as your refuge. I disappear into the story. I disappear and hang out with the characters, because that's what I like. It's important to, on your journey as an author, to look back and see how far you've come, not necessarily how far you have to go, because that's infinity. It's way out there. You can be doing really well, but there's still farther to go. I realized that when I saw an ad for Harry Potter, and it's like, who hasn't read Harry Potter? Well, they're advertising, so not everybody. And I thought, well, she's at the pinnacle. Sold over $1 billion worth of books. $1 billion worth of books, and like 7 of them. So here, $1 billion. But it wasn't the pinnacle. There's farther to go. No matter how much you make, you can always make more. And even with that, Harry Potter, 9% of those people who read English read the book, which is a huge number. But there's still farther to go, right? So look back, see how far you've come. That's the important part of the journey. Where you go from there, it's up to you, but keep the fun in writing by disappearing into those characters. It's your refuge. It's what you like to do. Go back to why you got started in the first place. Writing is fun, right? Telling stories, having people receive your stories, even if it's not everybody, even if it's not hundreds of thousands, maybe there's only a dozen people who really like the story, but that's still a dozen more than you had before. Don't get overwhelmed by the requirement to make money. A lot of people, it's much, much better to keep a day job and just write on the side, publish one book a year. Perfectly fine. It has to work for you. And if you try to make a jump into a place that you aren't comfortable with, then you're setting yourself up for failure. And as I said, don't set yourself up for failure. Do what is right for you and keep the fun in writing. Otherwise, this becomes an untenable position, using a good military term, and you might have to abandon it. Don't be that person. All right, everybody. Peace, fellow humans.